Live. We're fucking live, dude. What's going on? I said we were going live, and we did it. I barely even know how, but here we are. Um, and I guess I just wanted to go live now to talk about the experiment, to talk about my thought process behind the experiment, and engage in a dialogue with some of you about it. This is my head now. This is my bald ass head these days. What's going on? So, I had the idea to do something like this for a while. Since the very first music video that we ever did, I knew that I hated music videos for the most part. Not that I hate music videos, but rather that I feel uncomfortable just performing and like trying to look a certain way in a music video. I want to always think about my job and in your life and my job artistically as a storyteller, and I want to use the music videos, whatever that format means and whatever this platform means, to help advance the telling of that story or tell it from a different perspective. I think that's why I've also never starred in the music videos, but always done like a cameo. I just want to be like hidden somewhere in the background, but let the story unfold as it would be, and not make it about myself, because it's not about me. It's about the grandkids. It's about the themes and messages going on both socially and politically. So whether that means a story in your own mind, like Oh No, like Despicable, or something that's happening in the political landscape to do with things like climate change, the opioid epidemic, gun violence in America. So anyways, over the course of making music videos over the last year, I had started thinking, wow, how cool would it be to make music videos that are inspired by social experiments and make people question human nature, question reality. So that was where Stigmata came from. It was inspired by the Milgram pain experiment, which is an infamous experiment from the 1950s that pushed participants to inflict what they thought would be violence on a random stranger at the insistence of a scientist next to them. But then I started going deeper and saying, instead of making music videos inspired by these experiments, why don't we actually do some experiments where I can be the subject in the middle, and we can have random people be pushed to do whatever they want, and we can make conclusions based on how they behave. So that was the beginning. Also, while I've been on tour, I've had this thing called the XX Resistance kind of board, which has been up next to the merch table, and all we've written is, what do you resist for? And we've gotten so many crazy answers, things that you would expect. People writing family members that they resist on behalf of, or issues in pop culture that they're passionate about. And then inevitably some people just use it as an opportunity to troll and tell us to go fuck ourselves, or write in a political candidate that they know will antagonize most of the people there. And then I started thinking how cool it would be if I let my own body be the XX Resistance board. So that was where the inspiration came from. I am currently on a tour bus. It's pretty sick. This is the tour bus. That's Henry. And we're in Portland right now, finishing up the End of the Beginning tour. So yeah, I think we're still wrapping our heads around it, around the experiment, but I feel good first and foremost. Yeah, I'm fine. I survived, and I learned a lot about myself. Since the experiment happened, I've felt more confident. I can look at strangers in the eyes, and I know that I'm all right. And I didn't really come in with any clear hypothesis. I didn't really expect much. One thing I think that the video might make people think is that those people are inherently bad, that did anything degrading or humiliating to me, And I don't think that that's the case, actually. I think people are relatively ambivalent. I just think people don't care. I don't think people cared about me, cared about the experiment. I don't think they were necessarily trying to do insidious harm to me, but rather they were put in a room and there's a bunch of props, and very few people took the second to question whether I was okay or engage in a dialogue with me. And that's fine, but that doesn't make people bad, I don't think. I just think it's, I thought it was an interesting thing that people were seeming to insinuate that based on how the video was edited and presented, that it made people seem bad, and I don't think that's the case. Hypothetical, because now I'm going to start just answering questions that you guys are happening, but the chat's moving kind of fast, but I'll do my best. What did they say to you, those who spoke to you? They were just curious. They were just kind of like, why would you do this? And I explained it's an experiment on anonymity. It's a study. I wanted to see, people behave so different when they're hiding behind a username, when they're hiding behind their phone or hiding behind their laptop versus how we engage with people face to face. And I was curious if they could hide behind a mask, if that would be similar. What else we got? Who chose the props for them to use? That was actually the video team that produced the video. We came to them with the concept and they handled it. They did a great job. We'll include information about them in the description of the video. And they, at the beginning of the experiment, I walked in and they said, hey, look, we've got some props for you. It's going to be a little wild. Do you want to know about them? And I thought about it and I decided no. I think that would give me too much anxiety knowing what people were going to be able to choose from. And I was really, really happy afterwards that I didn't know, especially when I saw that they had like cockroaches and all kinds of crazy shit. Yeah, no, I don't think people are bad. I do think there is a certain gang mentality or tribalism that was provoked. I found that people were less nice to me as the day went on. As I got more covered in filth and people walked in and saw me with my head partially shaved, I think that they just were like, okay, I guess that's the point. I guess that's what's normal. And so people felt encouraged to behave like that. Are you going to regrow your hair? Yeah, that's how hair works. Hair regrows. I think your video portrayed a real message of how quickly people can go against their morals when they are anonymous and have power, like anonymous bullies. That's fair. Did the wax hurt? Yeah, but he didn't really let it sit long enough to settle. It was like I felt something pressed against my chest or my stomach, and I was like, oh, this is going to hurt, and then it was just bam. So it wasn't actually that bad. If I were to make a movie and use your songs, would you guys get mad? Hell no. Would my label get bad? Maybe. But I don't give a fuck. Do whatever you want. There's nothing more exciting for me than when art imitates art. So I love when you guys make films or do covers or draw pictures inspired by the songs or by me. Come to Belgium. I've been to Belgium. It was awesome. I'll come back. I will punch the guy who shaved your hair off. It was actually several people. By the end of the day, my hair was so fucked up. We were like, we should just shave the rest of it. I'm going to answer a couple more for another minute, and then I'm going to go leave. This has been really interesting. And I don't have... What was my favorite interaction in the whole experiment? My favorite interaction was probably with that guy at the end. One interaction that was crazy was the guy with the duct tape, because he first sounded as if he was going to be normal. He came in and was asking me questions about the experiment. We went back and forth for a little while, and I let my guard down a bit. And he, after I told him about the experiment and anonymity, he kind of said, huh. And then I could hear the sound of duct tape, and he said, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but it's going to hurt. That stuck with me. And then he started wrapping duct tape around my head and around my face, which is just a weird thing to do. It was fucking weird. But that was one of my favorite interactions because it was so visceral. I was so physically present. My body was so in a heightened state of awareness because it was terrified. So that was cool. Do I have any tattoos? Yes. Yeah, I got a bunch. Social experiments in different countries would be quite interesting. I totally agree. And I'm very receptive to what other experiments we could do inspired by other songs on Volume 3 or on any of the music. I would like to take this format and move forward with it as far as producing content goes. So if you guys have ideas, you can message them in the community section, or you can message me on Instagram. What is your favorite song? I got a bunch of favorite songs. I love lots of different kinds of music. Tough to say. If I had to pick one off the top of my head, I love the song I Can't Write Left-Handed by Bill Withers. Do you think there would be difference in results based on different cultures or countries? Maybe. Not really, though. I don't actually think so. But maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Is there going to be any other videos on Modern Tragedy 3? We recorded some orchestral acoustic videos, so we might put out an orchestral version of Destroy Me. That was a really special day in New York City, so we might put that out if we can get it sounding right. Will you do more experiments? Yes. Where are you currently in the world? I'm in Portland, Oregon, which is in United States of America. It's a beautiful place. It's fall. It's crisp outside. The leaves are changing. We love it over here. Did you come up with the ideas for the video? Yeah, the cockroach in your hair. I didn't actually know about it until afterwards. Thankfully, it wasn't like too creepy crawly on my skin. It was just on the top of my head, so I didn't notice until later. I finally took the blindfold off, and there was a cockroach in my lap. I was like, that's pretty gross. Any chance you can release acoustic versions of Rock Bottom or Oh No? I will probably do one of Rock Bottom. As a general rule of thumb, I find that trying to do acoustic versions of songs that are super, super riff based, so if it's a heavy guitar riff that leads the song, I don't like how that sounds on an acoustic guitar, so I usually I do the songs that are more melodic, that are more revolving around a chord progression. How many people took part in the experiment? There was between 20 and 25 people. Did you have to tell anyone to stop? The only person that we were going to tell to stop was the guy that picked up the lighter and the aerosol can. I actually didn't know about that because I was blindfolded, but afterwards everyone told me that they almost lost their shit on that part. I will come to Germany and the rest of Europe in 2020. I will come back to Ohio in 2020. Did anyone feel bad? Who's to say? Because I didn't talk to them. They just went home, so maybe. I am going to come to the UK very soon, yeah. What did the lighter and spray guy do? He didn't do what he could have done, which was light my head on fire. That's good. He just kind of behaved erratically. I honestly, they kind of blend together, so I don't remember. Did you get seriously hurt? No. No, I look fine. I feel fine. Some dude slapped me. That's about it. What do you think you would have done if you were in their position? What a great question. I really have no idea, because one of the things I want people to at least acknowledge about the video is that you can't know unless you're in the room. Like, I think a lot of those people, if they had been asked that, would have behaved differently. And I think if they knew it was for a music video that would have been viewed hundreds of thousands of times, they probably would have behaved differently as well. But I'd probably be an asshole too. I might engage in a dialogue with people. I'd like to think I might, but who's to say, you know? It's like really, really easy to give yourself all a break when I believe that line between good and evil is actually much, much more thin in normal people. And I think that's why in history people get pushed so quickly to do such horrible things. So I'd like to say that I would have been benevolent and untied that person, and I'd probably pour milk on them and whatever. Did they find out who you really were in the end? No. And who am I, really? Like, those people don't know my music or anything. They're just strangers. So even if I said, hey, by the way, I'm grandson, they would have been like, oh, I don't give a fuck. So I think that's also good for my ego to be reminded. That's why I like to putting myself in this position where I'm just another stranger with strangers. What did I think when that girl kissed me? I didn't even know it was a girl. But I was like, all right, let's go. Do you think their conscience left with their identity? No. No, I think that if their conscience left, they would have been even worse to me. Nobody would, like, beat their shit out of me or anything. Favorite place to tour? I love touring everywhere. I love touring in America, Canada, Europe. I loved playing in Moscow this summer. What else we got? I kind of want to do a social experiment in my country. Any ideas? Don't do it. That's my idea. How's the kiss? Pretty good. Do you miss your hair? No. It'll come back. Are you planning to make any new music videos? Yeah. Can I use your songs for my animations? Of course. Do you have any siblings? Yes, I have 2 older siblings. I am the baby, as is indicated by my giant baby-looking head these days. I have 2 older siblings. They're sisters, and they're awesome. Do you like Linkin Park? Of course. Of course. Hugely inspirational, influential band. Pioneers in using rock music to advocate for mental health. I would love to continue to work with Mike Shinoda and the Linkin Park family. What else do I got for you guys before I get out of here? Please make a song based off of friendships falling apart. I'm sorry that you had to go through that. I'll do my best. It's hard for me to write songs about things unless they just feel really relevant to my life in the moment. It's hard for me to just like, oh, do a song about this, but I'll take a swing at it. It's always good creatively to push yourself to have a new prompt. Were the participants given any rules as to what they can't do? Yes. They weren't allowed to do anything excessively sexual or violent to or with me. We outlined that very clearly. That was part of how I didn't feel too scared, because I knew that they would be held liable in the event that they were to do something that really fucked me. Do you think people's reactions would be different if it was a woman sitting in the chair instead of a man? Absolutely. Great question, and I do think people would have behaved differently. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know, but I do believe that people would behave differently. It may be interesting to see how people feel going into it, then ask them what their thoughts are afterwards. Yeah, we might have missed an opportunity by not doing a follow-up interview, but I think people were just relatively indifferent. The whole thing. They were just kind of like, oh, here's a guy covered in random chocolate syrup and shit. Let's just pour more shit on him. Like, I don't think it was that cerebral. There also was a time limit on how much time they were actually in the room with me. So they didn't have a ton of time to think about, oh, how does this make me feel? What do I think? They only had a couple minutes. So it was like, pick some shit up and go crazy. How did I come up with the name Grandson? I wanted a name that felt familiar for people the way that rock music has been familiar for me my whole life. So I was looking for a name that reminded me of my childhood. And my manager, Amit, came up with the name Grandson. He emailed me January of 2016 with the subject line, what about grandson? Here we are. Will you keep this live stream up as a video so I can share it with my friends? Hell yeah. And you guys should subscribe and join the notifications gang so that you can know next time I feel like doing one of these things randomly, because I might not give you a heads up next time. Doing a school project for music, and I chose you as my favorite artist. Thank you. And I just want to say thank you for being the person you are and impacting many people through your music. Thank you, Muhammad. I appreciate that. I'm glad that the music resonates with you. Worst part of the experiment. The worst part was we had like 3 people in a row that behaved very like strange. Like the dude that was wrapping toilet paper around my head. I was scared he was gonna like light me on fire or something. Towards that part of the day, I started getting pretty sick of it. Towards the end, I really needed to be done with it, and thankfully there were only a couple people left. So yeah, a live version of Destroy Me should be coming soon. I love you too, random person. When will you come to Israel? I don't know, but I'd love to. What got you inspired to make this type of music? I've always wanted to make this type of music. I just didn't know it. I loved hip-hop. I've loved rock and roll, and I've loved electronic music my whole life. I tried to do each of those 3 things independent of one another and couldn't do any of them as well as I wanted to. And so then I just tried to do something that incorporated all of my favorite influences and inspirations. So I couldn't imagine doing anything different. How's life? Pretty good. Life is good. I hope life is good for you guys too. Did anyone try and help you, like try to clean you up? Not even a little bit. Nobody wanted to get their hands dirty like that. But the video film crew helped afterwards. Make more songs like 6 o'clock. Okay. You grew up in Toronto. Where in Toronto? I grew up on the west side, like Oakwood, around there, like Eglinton West subway station. Would I ever do more collaborations? Yes. Are you against guns? No, I just don't think that people should be able to shoot up their high schools. I don't oppose a gun as a construct for whatever, hunting or safety. If you're a responsible person without a history of mental illness or violence, I think that it should be more difficult for a person to own a deadly weapon. I think similar to getting a driver's license, where you have to do a written test, then you have to do an in-person test, and you are evaluated for your ability to be responsible with this deadly weapon. I think that something similar should be applied to guns, even though some people think that that's horrible and a violation of their Second Amendment. I'm not thinking about them. I'm thinking about all the people that have died in the last day, because 100 people die every day from gun violence, and I think we have a responsibility to try to curb that. What's your style of music called? Alternative. Did it hurt when you had to take the duct tape off? Yeah. Yeah, it did. I think that's about it for now, guys. I think I'm gonna go. What do I think about LGBT? I'm fucking about it, dude. Be your gay self. Hell yeah. Just love is love. Who the hell am I to tell you what to do with your body? Europe tour soon. Hell yeah. Thank you. We love you. All right. See ya. Love you. Bye.